Okay, Narrative Breakers, got a pretty hard story to believe today. Bill Gates just met with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to schedule a release of millions, yes, millions, mosquitoes to help combat illness in Australia. One of the strangest things that I could ever report. It does not sound real. It sounds like we're getting on terms of conspiracy, but this is all reality. Bill Gates has had this mosquito rumors for probably the past 4 or 5 years. If you look actually on YouTube, people have been speaking about it. And at first he claimed it was to help with malaria. Bill Gates infamously went down to Africa, specifically African villages, to test out this new technology. And now he's ready to implement it on Australia. After accusations of implementing this in Florida. We got a lot of videos to break this down, to expose what's going on, and to prove or disprove the whole threat of Florida being flooded with mosquitoes created by Bill Gates. Let's get into it.
The EPA recently approved an experimental use permit to Oxitec, a biotech company funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In an effort to fight malaria, Oxitec will soon release millions of genetically modified mosquitoes in various U.S. states. According to the NIH website, programs are being developed to allow human immunization via mosquito bite. It was Science magazine that coined the phrase, flying syringes.
Now, at first I was seeing this and it's like, yeah, whatever, just conspiracy stuff. Don't pay it no mind. But we start seeing reports of mosquitoes being released in Florida. Now, the government never validated it, and I was like, that's just some baloney. I mean, really? Is this man really that mad to release them in Florida? Guys, we have some damning videos in this compilation that completely changed my mind, and there's a good chance it might change yours too.
Means that you can't get the economies in these areas going because it holds things back so much. Now, malaria is, of course, transmitted by mosquitoes. I brought some here so you could experience this. We'll let those roam around the auditorium a little bit. There's no reason only poor people should have the experience. Those mosquitoes are not infected, but
And I think the big question is the World Mosquito Program. Do you know what that is?
Grant, whatever it is, it's very expensive. What he's showing you there is not cheap at all. That's a big investment made. And the pipe dream is to have mosquitoes that, they can't carry the disease or carry a benign.
Grant Stinchfield, pretty good guy. I was able to meet him in 2023. Cool guy. They just breaking down about Bill Gates bringing these mosquitoes in. So they're genetically modified mosquitoes. Initially, as I said in the intro, developed to combat malaria. Well, he sent these mosquitoes down to Africa. And I find it very strange that these rich billionaires always try to treat these Africans like test dummies. I don't see how it hasn't been exposed yet. But they always go to Africa to test out their systems because they're third world and they have a hard time getting their message out to the world of technology. So if anything goes wrong, and it oftentimes does, they're not able to spread their plight throughout the world like most people with access to social media because they go to specific African villages and they claim it's the ones that need the most aid. It's a very good disguise, but in actuality, they're targeting individuals that can't scream when they're hit. So now he's changed the narrative, and these mosquitoes will be headed to control a dengue fever in Queensland.
Form of the disease. The danger here is that the various pathogens, you mentioned Zika, dengue fever, yellow fever, they can mutate. They can change to actually get around whatever that lab is trying to do. And likely they're going to become more dangerous. So the concern here is all this work in mosquitoes is going to make actually more dangerous diseases for humans, not eradicate them.
The government of Djibouti teamed up with the company Oxitec to pursue an innovative approach to malaria control.
Oxitec is a biotechnology company, and we are the pioneers in using mosquitoes to fight mosquitoes.
Now, in theory, I will feel like this is a brilliant, brilliant idea. This right here is one of the labs that they're accusing B. Bill Gates. It's out in, if I think, Colombia. I'm here to disprove that theory. This actually received $100 million from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. However, it is not an official affiliate of Bill Gates. Now, this factory could be used by the Gates, thanks to the $100 million, to perpetrate his narratives that he wants to push on the world, i.e., GMO modified mosquitoes. But it's not an official entity of Bill Gates. So people that's pushing the information out here saying that this is footage of the Bill Gates lab, it's just simply inaccurate. I hate to have to do this, but it did receive $100 million from Bill Gates, and it could be, behind the scenes, something he's really controlling. He don't want his name on it. But we don't want to misconstrue the message, because as soon as we get information out there that's viral and it end up not being true, it makes the entire narrative appear false. And the narrative is Bill Gates should not be touching any mosquitoes, and he shouldn't have the amount of trust to release them worldwide.
Insert 2 small genes into the mosquito's genome. And that allows us to release male mosquitoes that seek out and mate with wild-type females. All of the female progeny die, thereby reducing the number of malaria-transmitting female mosquitoes in the environment. Meanwhile, our self-limiting gene is passed down a few additional generations to subsequent male mosquitoes, allowing them to continue to carry the fight out for a limited time before they disappear from the environment.
Il faudrait qu'on améliore et qu'on propage ce genre de technologie moderne sur le continent, que les risques soient atténués, qu'il n'y ait pas de propagation sur d'autres mégalopodes africains.
For pandemics, we need new tools. Things like environmental surveillance needs to be done on a constant basis, so we're never caught off guard again. The ability.
So there's an interview of Bill Gates talking about how we need a type of surveillance system, which eerily aligns with his entire drone. I'm sorry, about to say drone. His mosquito situation. So he comes out to the Japan Society and expresses his concerns of how we need a controlled state, how we need surveillance all around us, and how we live in a technologically advanced era that can provide it. It's pretty odd to see this, and then you think about the capabilities of what these mosquitoes can do. They could be used to create a surveillance state itself.
Ability to make diagnostics, literally billions of diagnostics in a few months, that can be very cheap and very accurate. That's absolutely necessary to avoid the difficulties of the next pandemic. We need a worldwide network of vaccine manufacturing capacity. And there have been recent advances funded by the foundation and others to allow us to have mRNA vaccine factories at various levels of capacity at a very low cost and able to make low-cost vaccines. And so as we pull all of this together, the surveillance, the global health core, the diagnostics, the antibody capacities, a variety of things, if we're faced with a pathogen like COVID, we will do dramatically better. In fact, every country should do better than even the very best countries did.
Hi, I'm Scott O'Neill here in Medellin, Colombia today, and I'm at the world's biggest mosquito factory for the World Mosquito Program. We're making in here 30 million mosquitoes a week. Come and have a look. We're doing it for a very serious reason. Cities like Medellin have suffered from diseases like dengue, Zika, chikungunya for decades, but not anymore. We've been
This is the lab right
able
here.
to bring the solution of Wolbachia mosquitoes to this city. When this bacteria called
Something about it don't make sense, but hey, let's not have on our tinfoil hat. This isn't like they just started genetically modifying creatures. They've been doing it forever, especially trying to take care of invasive species. There's some pretty interesting documentaries about the subject. I think anyone should at least spend 10-15 minutes on just to learn about how they genetically modify creatures to try to help get rid of invasive species, or even modify invasive species to get them the hell out of whatever area they're doing damage to. This isn't a new concept, but it is Bill freaking Gates. The man isn't a scientist. The man isn't a doctor. He's a tech billionaire, aka philanthropist, if you want to call him a philanthropist, but we all know his money is going into places where he can get it back. But he is not a scientist. So it's concerning, and it's good that people are concerned that he has the power to send millions upon millions of genetically modified mosquitoes that could create a surveillance state on multiple countries, not just America. It's very disturbing. It's not the system, it's the person behind it that keeps people worried.
Wolbachia gets introduced into the mosquito, it stops their ability to transmit dengue. We release mosquitoes that have Wolbachia. Now they go and mate, and Wolbachia gets passed into the wild mosquito population. If we're going to control these diseases in all the tropical cities of the world, it's going to require a lot of mosquitoes. The mosquito life cycle starts with the egg, and in this room we've got a lot of eggs. Each one of these strips, these tiny black dots, are up to 10,000 mosquito eggs. Across all of these strips, about 1.5 million dried eggs waiting to hatch. In this tray, we've got the newly hatched eggs. They're little larvae.
But I can't lie, something about just looking at this, it kind of makes me, I feel some disturbing feeling inside. Maybe I really am just a conservative at heart, and I just want to conserve things the way they are. But it just gives me a bad feeling that nothing good will come from this. I don't know why. When people play God, they typically start aligning with the devil. I don't know why. I'm going to say that again. When people play God, they start to align with the devil. I don't know why, but they start to push things that leads us to destruction, lead us to chaos, and pretty much, I hate to say it, to a godless society. It makes us more atheists. In a sense, if we find out we can just do the things that we claim that God can do. And I'm never going to be someone that's against science and evolution, but I don't understand why people that have the power to evolve us as a species typically be aligned with some things that brings humanity as a whole back instead of forward. And that just itself, it feels like I don't understand how people that play God end up being involved in Satanism and occult rituals. And I can keep going on and on, but you guys get where I'm coming from with this. They're compromised individuals that's controlling the entire world of individuals that aren't compromised. In turn, making anyone that they rule a compromised individual itself, because we have to live under their rules.
Small, you can hardly see them. They're going to sit in here for a few days and eat and get bigger until they look like these ones over here. They're starting to turn into pupae. We're wanting to do the next step of sorting the males from the females. We want to do that so we can manipulate the sex ratio in the cages to be more female than male. The bottom ones along here are the boys, and the ones at the top are the girls. They're bigger. From here, they're going into the adult cages. We have adults that we continuously grow in what we call our brood stock. And then over here, we have the mass-produced mosquitoes getting ready to give us the eggs to go out directly into the field. It's crazy how they sound.
It just doesn't seem right for a lot of reasons.
You might wonder, what do we feed all these mosquitoes here? Well, I can tell you, we've got the good stuff in here. On the top shelf, literally, we've got the blood. They love it. Once the mosquitoes are grown, they're ready to go out into the field.
And Melinda Gates Foundation, in an attempt to prevent insect-borne diseases such as dengue fever, yellow fever.
And this breaks it down for those that are saying, Dom, just pulling our legs. This can't be true. Look at the meeting. I've already named the Australian Prime Minister. And Australia, you guys know how I feel about Australia. Australia, personally, their entire parliament had did a meeting and tried to get my X account banned. So I'm not really someone that is too favorable of Australia. They're pretty petty. I never knew Australia was completely controlled the way it is. I would go so far as to say they're in a worse condition than the UK. But that's a whole nother video for another day. And trust me, that video is coming because Australia has to get exposed. But Australia is without a doubt one of the headquarters for the globalists in 2025.
Fever and the Zika virus. The genetically modified male mosquitoes, which do not bite, will be released into the wild where they are expected to mate with females to pass on a lethal gene that will effectively ensure their offspring die before being maturity. Millions of the mosquitoes were released in the Florida Keys last year in a test project, and the EPA has authorized the extension of the project in Florida and 4 counties in California. pending approval from the state's regulators. However,
So that's the thing about the Florida. This is where I want a lot of my subscribers to watch this, and that is where they had lost me. I was like, there's no way that they got Bill Gates releasing no goddamn mosquitoes in Florida and California and whatnot. And then you start having Floridians release these videos claiming, man, it's just so crazy, y'all, claiming the exact same scenario was happening in their city. And we have that coming after this is this Florida woman exposing how it appears to be mosquitoes being dropped off from helicopters. I just cannot believe that the stuff that the government has gotten so bold to where they can just throw up drones up in New Jersey for all to see, throw mosquitoes in Florida for all to see. The things that the government is doing now, they're no longer being sneaky. And that tells me that they know they've gotten humans engineered to accept whatever chaos that they give us. The things that we're seeing in our skies now, the exposés that we're being revealed to, the Epsteins and all of these things, humans, Americans specifically, would not have been able to handle these things, in my opinion, 50, 60 years ago. And it's as if our government knows they've beaten us down so much and conditioned us to the point where we won't riot if they literally release billions of genetically modified mosquitoes in our atmosphere. Because we've become too acceptant of being ruled by chaos.
there have been concerns about what impacts releasing the mosquitoes could have on public health as well as the environment. Dana Pearls, Food and Technology Program Manager with Friends of the Earth, an environmental advocacy organization, told USA Today, "This is a destructive move that is dangerous for public health. Once you release these mosquitoes into the environment, you cannot recall them," she said. J.D. Hansen, Policy Director with the Center for Food Safety, said that the experiment is unnecessary and even dangerous. There are no locally acquired cases of dengue, yellow fever, chikungunya, or Zika in California, Hansen said. According to Quartz, areas including Malaysia, Brazil, the Cayman Islands, and Panama have seen their mosquito populations reduce as much as 90% after similar experiments.
Okay, this is the crazy thing. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life.
So here's the part of the video that makes me start to scratch my head more than any. And I know we can be wrong on these things, even with the New Jersey drone. As I said in my last video, excuse me, I don't know what the hell that was. Sound like it was a hiccup and a burp mix. As I said in the video with the drones, once people started expecting to see drones in the sky, they started seeing drones that were already there. Meaning, there are so many different operations, photo shoots, etc., that would cause the drone to be in the air. But after it was exposed that drones were over New Jersey, people started looking up and noticing things that were already there and started claiming that, oh, this must be a part of the New Jersey thing. There are even drone operations that take place every night around like 9 p.m. by specific surveillance systems, surveillance military squadrons. But because we were looking for them, we were able to see them. Now, I don't think the same can really be said about this. I think it's kind of similar. But people started seeing these mosquitoes without the posts of Bill Gates being viral really anywhere on the internet. It's really, although you've seen videos about it, it's not viral enough to where everyone in America is talking about it, to where it makes sense for people to see something that was already there. So it's very, very strange to me that people have begun reporting on seeing all these mosquitoes being released in their city before the expose of Bill Gates even went viral.
And I lived in Florida my entire life. Those are all bugs. I thought the restaurant was smoking. Those are all bugs. You can even see them flying, like, dude, you can't even tell on the video how many there are. There are millions and billions and trillions of bugs here right now. All of those lines, bugs. Oh my gosh. They're getting closer to me so you can start seeing them more. Oh, I cannot believe this. I've literally never seen anything like this in my entire life. How is this Ohio? It looks like it's pouring rain. It's literally not even raining. These are bugs. I cannot even fathom how many bugs are here. This is absolutely absurd. Absurd.
Now, I'm aware that bugs constantly migrate, and I'm sure all of you know. They'll migrate, and they'll be in the thousands, tens of thousands, possibly millions. But when you have locals as she emphasized, she's lived in that area for a long time. When you have locals start saying something that's wrong with their environment, that's when we really should listen. I like to listen to the people that know they land better than most, and I view it as credible. So it is interesting that you have Florida locals saying they were witnessing bugs that was outside of the ordinary.
Oh my gosh.
And so right here, you have a helicopter which is being accused of dropping off these bugs. Now, the thing is, I don't know if these are mosquitoes, but that's what they were accused of doing. This is also, to no one's surprise, in Florida. God, I'm moving to Florida in a few months, and I'm kind of worried about going to Miami because between the Florida man, the mosquitoes, and the hurricanes, I'm just hoping to God that I can survive down there. But there's no one telling that if it's mosquitoes or not. But it aligns with the theory that mosquitoes are being dropped off from helicopters, which what we see, and it does appear to look like mosquitoes. It's not drones. And you can see as it disperses and the overall density of them and how they spread out, it does appear to be insects. If Bill Gates has the power, and we know he does, to release insects in every country, then what is the point of having a president anymore? We have allowed tech billionaires to overstay their welcome and overreach in their power. And I do believe in 2025 specifically, we need to start holding billionaires accountable and say, hey, the same way we have Doge, we need to start doing the same thing for these billionaires. Because we never had people this powerful in the world, at least in recent human history. We're talking about billionaires having the same power as some Roman emperors. Truthfully, I mean, it's really worth looking up the comparison. They have eyes everywhere. And someone has to step in and say, no one man should have all that power, because every single time we see these individuals get the power of what we could consider gods, they treat the people as if they're peasants. No one reaches this godly type of power and influence and maintains to be a good person for the most part. So we need to start creating some type of system that can hold them accountable and stop them from going Mad Max. Please like, comment, and subscribe on the video. Hope you've been enjoying the coverage, and click the notification bell to stay updated. Hiccups are killing me right now. Don't know what's going on. See you guys on the next one.